Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Leading Change. My name is Emma, and I've got Paige with me today, and we're going to be talking about responsible AI. I get to all the questions that I've got for you. Paige, can you give everybody an introduction?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Paige Lord. I am an artificial intelligence ethicist, and I've been in the world of technology for over 10 years and, focus a good portion of my energy on, making sure people understand what artificial intelligence is, why ethical and responsible AI is important, and how we can move forward in actually implementing practices that move artificial intelligence forward in innovation and then responsible AI forward so that we can elevate humanity.
Well, I'm excited to have you here with me. And for anybody that thinks it's silly that I've got a TikTok following, Paige's TikTok following is like far bigger than mine. So again, my plug that people are looking for this content and want to learn more about it. But you just said at the beginning of your introduction there that part of your focus is helping make sure that people understand what AI is. So to just get us started, can you share your definition and make sure that we're kind of all on the same page before we move forward with the conversation?
Yes. So this is probably one of the things that's most hotly debated in the artificial intelligence community is what does artificial intelligence even mean? And you'll see if you dive deep into the Reddit forums, you'll see that people are kind of arguing about artificial intelligence versus automation and things like that. I like to go by the sort of original definition from when the term was coined in the 1950s. And that definition, what we can glean from the original paper in which it was written, is that it's really just machines that mimic humans. And so that encompasses a wide variety of things, but it's artificial intelligence technology that is built with the express purpose of mimicking things that humans do. We can talk about robots, people talk about humanoid robots all the time, right? And they have these sort of glorious and grand visions of robots washing their dishes for them so they don't have to. That would be an example of, machines mimicking humans. But we can also see that in things like, machine learning models and deep neural networks, right? It mimics our brain and how our brain thinks. So it really, that definition, spans a wide variety of technologies. So I would encourage to kind of go by that sort of broader definition instead of trying to whittle artificial intelligence down to this machine learning model or that type of large language model.
Great. Thank you. So then I want to kind of take it a step further. As I teased, we're going to be having a conversation about responsible AI. So can you talk through what that concept looks like from your perspective?
Yeah, definitely. So there's a lot of conversation about two sort of concepts. There's ethical AI that people talk about, and then there's responsible AI. And sort of the long and short of it, and the best way I think I can simplify it, is that ethical AI is really the sort of study and theory of artificial intelligence, the different applications of it, how it might positively or negatively impact, people or the world. And it really is more of a broad sort of theoretical exploration of what ethics look like when applied to the uses of artificial intelligence. Responsible artificial intelligence are the actual principles that companies or people might adopt when they are building, deploying, or using artificial intelligence. And so responsible artificial intelligence is really more about how do we make meaningful moves toward achieving those principles that we have adopted? What are the values that we have as a company? And how do we want to build or use or deploy our artificial intelligence technology so that it aligns to those values? A good example of that, might be fairness in ensuring that when you build artificial intelligence, that it's fair, that, it doesn't favor one group of people over another just because the data that was fed to the model, trended toward favoring one group of people. It's checks and balances that, allow us to be able to build artificial intelligence that does consider a wide variety of perspectives. And ultimately has results at the end of the day that are not, favoring one group over the other.
So then when we take a look at like implementing these types of strategies and specifically implementing them across the entire company versus just like one department, what are some of those strategies or considerations that you think are important for organizations to be thinking about as they try to roll out that strategy?
Yeah, this is the tough conversation right now because we weren't in sort of what I'm calling the AI era until January of this year, and nobody was expecting it to come this quickly, that we would have the capabilities that we have with generative AI, and where we're kind of seeing that movement in the world of AI right now. And so there are some conversations that I'm having with people who are owners of business or leaders in organizations where they're beginning to realize that, responsible artificial intelligence and adopting those strategies is not about having a list of principles that you list on your website. That's a step, but you actually have to go through your company with a fine-tooth comb and understand where you need to change your processes and your procedures and your systems, so that getting to responsible artificial intelligence, again, whether you're building it, deploying it, or using it, is something that's naturally built into your system. One example of this is anytime you have a company that is using artificial intelligence, you may set up a board. If it's artificial intelligence that's maybe making decisions, things like, people when they submit their resumes, you may use artificial intelligence to comb through those resumes looking for keywords. You would want to have a board of humans to evaluate the results that came from the AI, and people who are really invested in understanding what those results were for those applications that came through, and being willing to say, no, we need to make some corrections because this is what we're seeing and what we're receiving. If you're only receiving job applications from people with female names for jobs that are administrative assistant, then you know that your system has some bias in it. So having humans there to evaluate that is really important. So that's the first thing I would say is change your perspective of what it means to adopt responsible AI. It's not just about the principles, it's about a full revamp of your systems. And then second, making sure that you have humans in the loop at every stage to make sure that you're not empowering artificial intelligence to do things that at the end of the day could be, harmful for your customers, for consumers, for your brand, for your company, for your investors, et cetera.
I think this conversation of AI ethics and responsible AI, just as you said, is going to start ramping up substantially now that we're being faced with these questions and considerations that we knew we were going to have to address, but maybe weren't prepared to prior to all of this technology coming out at such a rapid pace and being adopted at a rate that we haven't seen before.
Yeah, we're definitely. Oh, go ahead.
Nope, you're good.
I was just going to say, we're going to see it a lot more. And I would encourage people not to shy away from that conversation. There are people like me out there. You don't have to call me. There are any number of organizations, the large companies, Microsoft's, the IBMs, that have consultants whose job it is to help companies about how they might change their strategy to move toward responsible AI. So I would just encourage people not to shy away from the conversation.
Well, thank you very much for joining me, Paige. I appreciate you taking the time to have a chat with us. And for anybody that's watching, if you're not already, make sure that you give her a follow on LinkedIn. If you're into the world of TikTok like we are, make your way over there and give her a follow there as well. And certainly let either one of us know if you have any questions. But thank you everybody for joining us, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Leading Change. If you liked what you saw, be sure to subscribe and come back weekly for more expert interviews on digital transformation, change management, and emerging technologies.